Are you looking to sound like a native English speaker when you are answering your IELTS speaking questions? If so, then continue watching this video because I will provide you with tips and tricks on how you can sound like you are fluent in the English language. For those of you who don't know, I'm a certified English language teacher in Canada. So questions about your hometown may be asked in all three parts of the IELTS speaking exam. So I will provide you with sample questions and answers. So before we continue, as I mentioned, there are three different parts in the IELTS speaking exam. So in the first part, the examiner may just ask you basic questions about your hometown. In part two, the examiner may ask you about your hometown and you will be required to speak for a full 2 minutes about your hometown. And then part three, he may ask you one question about your hometown. And then once you answer, he may ask you another question. But don't worry, I will get into details for each single part so you have a better understanding of what to expect. So let's talk about the type of questions you may see in part one. In part one, you may see a question such as, where is your hometown located? So the way I would answer this question is say, I come from a beautiful city that is located in the northeastern part of Uzbekistan, which is close to the borders of Kazakhstan. My beautiful country is located in Central Asia. So guys, it's extremely important that when you are answering any questions related to your hometown in part one, you do not just give one-word answers. You should make sure you speak in full sentences because this is what the examiner is actually looking for, and try to emphasize on your sentences explaining where you come from. Number two, what is the name of the town where you come from? So I would answer with, the hustle and bustle and beautiful scenic parks throughout the streets of Tashkent make me proud to say I am originally from there. Tashkent is the city where I come from. So if you noticed, I used the word hustle and bustle. Hustle and bustle often refers to somewhere that's very busy, that's extremely busy, the streets are filled with people and cars. So one thing to know about the IELTS speaking exam is try to use words like hustle and bustle because this will show your confidence in speaking English during the IELTS speaking questions. So let's look at the third question. How long have you been living in your hometown? I was born and raised in Tashkent. I lived in Tashkent for 35 years and came to Canada 2 years ago. Let's take a look at another question you may get. Describe your hometown. What is it like? Tashkent has a lot to offer and is the capital of Uzbekistan. First, the beautiful historic architecture of old monuments from the 17th century is stunning to see. The beauty of Uzbekistan is that it is known as one of the main routes that tradesmen would pass through on the Silk Roads. The magnificent palaces and greenery are something that everyone loves about Tashkent. So as you can see, I used some high vocabulary words throughout my answer. So the first vocabulary word I used is historic monuments. Historic monuments means old ancient buildings or something that has been existing for a very long time, such as architecture, a building. And next, I use the word magnificent palaces. So what exactly does magnificent palaces mean? This means that there are structures that are the king's palace or the queen's palace. These are known to be magnificent. So guys, let's take a look at another question you may get. Is your hometown big or small? The size of Tashkent in kilometers is no more than 400 kilometers, with Kazakhstan being on the west side and Kyrgyzstan being on the east side. So as you guys see, I emphasized by mentioning the nearby countries. So let's look at another question. What do you enjoy most about the town where you come from? The generosity and hospitality of the Uzbek people are something that can't be compared. Even if you ask a stranger in Uzbekistan for any sort of help, they are ready to help you like they are a family member. This is something I really appreciate most. And here is another question. What is one thing you find challenging in your hometown? One thing I found very challenging when living in Uzbekistan before I left in 2015 was its unstable internet. Although this may not be a big deal for some people, it made it hard for me to attend my classes throughout my university life. Here's another question. What has changed about your hometown since you last lived there? As I mentioned earlier, I struggled with the internet connection being stable when I left Tashkent. However, my sister who currently lives there told me there are many new internet providers who offer a better connection. If you could make any changes to your hometown, what would it be? One adjustment I would like to see is that Tashkent advertises itself to more tourism. The country recently made that change. However, it should be advertised more so everybody can know about and see the beautiful country. Now let's take a look at the type of questions you may see in IELTS Speaking Part 2. As I mentioned earlier, IELTS Speaking Part 2, the examiner will give you a question about your hometown possibly, and then you will be required to talk about this for a full 2 minutes. Right before you talk, the examiner will give you 1 minute to prepare your answer. If you are not sure how to prepare your answer or how to brainstorm ideas to talk about in that full 2 minutes, then check out my video that I've linked right above, and this will guide you on how to brainstorm and use your 1 minute wisely. So let's take a look at the first question. The first question says, describe the town where you are originally from. You should say, what languages do people speak, one thing you like about your hometown, and one thing you dislike about your hometown. So I am going to put on a 2-minute timer, and let's see if I can speak for a full 2 minutes to ensure that I can cover all the parts of the requirements for IELTS Speaking Part 2. The beauty of my beloved country, Uzbekistan, has so much to offer to everyone. I am originally from the capital, known as Tashkent. There are many historic monuments in Tashkent, making it extra special that these structures are still standing from the 17th century. That being said, there is a wide range of languages spoken in Uzbekistan. Because of the Russian influence in the country, many Uzbeks speak the Russian language and other Turkic dialects. However, the main spoken language of Tashkent is Uzbek. One thing I really admire about Tashkent is its metro system. With the trains being known as one of the fastest of the world, each train station has so much architecture to offer. Each station was built with different historic artifacts to learn more about the different parts of Central Asia. That being said, there are not that many cons I can think of about Uzbekistan or Tashkent. But one thing we struggled with was the inconsistency of the electricity. There were many times we would have power outages throughout the day, which made it challenging to plan the day to cook or clean because I never knew when the electricity would be out. To wrap up, the history and people of Tashkent will always hold a special place in my heart, especially because they are very generous and hospitable. So guys, as you see, I actually spoke for a full 2 minutes. This is extremely important in IELTS Speaking Part 2. And as I mentioned, if you are not sure how you can do this, I give you a step-by-step guide of how you can brainstorm ideas in the video listed above. And also, just before I move on, the IELTS Speaking Part 2, if you are able to say 4 full sentences for each point, that way you know that you can speak for a full 2 minutes and not get marks taken off simply because you couldn't follow instructions. So IELTS Speaking Part 3 is more of an informal discussion between you and the examiner. And in this part, the examiner will be asking you one question at a time. These questions could get scattered between, let's say, questions about your hometown and then suddenly something about your culture. So you just need to be prepared and listen well, but you should only aim to speak for maybe 2 sentences for each question that the examiner is asking you. So let's get right into IELTS Speaking Part 3 and what type of questions you may see. What are some improvements that can be made in your hometown? The many construction sites and road closures create lots of traffic in Tashkent, making it difficult for us to get around the city. Number 2, why do you think people want to stay in their hometown? Many locals in Tashkent don't plan to leave Uzbekistan because of the low cost of living and because of the comfort they have in their own country. Personally, I think people don't want to leave their hometown for other countries because of the same reasons. So let's take a look at another question. What is one thing most people like about your hometown? Most people love the food of Uzbekistan. Not only is it cheap, but it's extremely delicious. Everyone knows about the fresh bread they can get for a few cents and the mouth-watering traditional beef and rice dish called palau. So here's another question. What are the advantages of knowing more than one language? There have been many studies done and research shows that people who are bilingual often have an added advantage throughout their academics, making it easy to solve problems in their lives. Do you think it's beneficial to grow up in a small town? I think growing up in a small town has many pros, especially because you know everyone and it's a tight-knit community. Everyone is able to look over your shoulder and help you in times of need. So what does tight-knit community mean? It describes a community that is very close to one another. So everybody within the community knows each other, helps each other out, and the neighborhood is quite small. And next, as you see, I use the word look over your shoulder. Look over your shoulder pretty much means somebody who is always aware of your surroundings and help you out when you are in danger or if something bad is about to happen to you or your belongings, they are always there to help you. Why do you think people move to rural areas? So before we begin, let's describe what exactly is a rural area. A rural area is a place where there's not that many homes, so you don't live in a neighborhood full of houses. Rather, the houses are far apart from one another. Many people prefer to live away from city life mainly because of the traffic and the lesser population of people in rural areas. Growing up, it used to take my dad 40 minutes to drive me to school every morning in Tashkent because of the rush hour. So let's talk about what rush hour means. As you could see here in the picture, rush hour means when a place is very busy, and usually rush hour only happens at a particular time of the day. So when native English speakers use the word rush hour, that usually means in the morning before people are going to school or work, and afterwards when they are coming home from school or work. So that's the term we use during these times of the day. And this is an idiom you can use to show the examiner that you are confident in your speech when you are giving your answers. So let's look at the next question. What factors do people consider before moving to a different town? There are many aspects to consider before relocating. Some of these include availability of jobs in the town and maybe a special educational institute someone may prefer for their kids. So as you see in my answer, I gave 2 reasons of why someone may move to a different town. So let's take a look at the last question for today. What is one big festival that happens in your country? Every year, Uzbekistan holds one of the largest events in the country called Baisun Bahari. The festival brings together thousands of attendees that enjoy traditional Uzbek food, lots of dance performances, and professional matches. One thing I love about this event is that the location of the scenic views of being surrounded by mountains make it more enjoyable. If you want a list of idioms that you can use in your answers, then check out the description box down below, as I've provided you a list of idioms you can use in speaking about your hometown. Last but not least, guys, if you like this video, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I put out content every Friday with different strategies and tips in all the different sections of the IELTS exam. And last but not least, guys, check out my website at eslwords.com, where I've written lots of different articles to help you on the different parts of the IELTS exam. Before I go, I want to leave you with another video of different IELTS speaking sample questions and answers